What up YouTube, my name is Choux. Here I'm gonna do an initial impression on Choux and why I actually think that she's gonna be the next upcoming meta unit for RTA. So we're gonna get started with this video that Epic 7 released for us after the Korean livestream, or like during the Korean livestream, and we go with that. Hi Gabe, I slept under your bed. Okay, you know what? Hey, before I say that this is a must pull, understand, okay? She's a must pull not because she's a lolly. FBI, open up!
15년 전 어린 전박이지.
I just like the mouse.
자신이 받은 만큼
If you were just pull for Choux, it'd just be for the mouse. Okay, so to introduce the character straight off, Choux is an ice warrior with a Capricorn, what is it? What was it called? The star sign? She is an ice warrior with a Capricorn star sign. She Zodiac, there you go. Thank you, chat. Anyways, so she has very high HP, very high base HP, very high base defense. And she literally straight up says that here, with these stats, I am a bruiser. Her imprint release means nothing. Who cares about effect res, okay? We don't care about effect res, it doesn't work anyway, right? Self imprint for crit chance. That shit is whack. Honestly, any unit with self imprint for crit chance literally says one thing and one thing only. Hey, look, I'm a bruiser, so use me as a bruiser. That's it. And also remember to swipe that credit card, because then that is all I, it's that, right? So she basically literally just states off that she's a very tanky bruiser, not too much, high, like decent attack for that kind of HP and defense. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, her speed is kind of like okay. 102 is not very high. She has no effectiveness, no effect res, nothing really special about this. Her crit chance is kind of like it's just base that you would actually get, and then most of the crit chances she's probably ever gonna get is from gear and imprint, right? Good introduction for her stats, not bad. They look really high.
치명적 증가를 발생시키고 자신에게 2턴간 면역을 발생시킵니다. 자신의 최대 생명력에 비례해 피해량이 증가합니다. 치명적 증가는 치명타에 피격될 확률을 50% 감소시키므로 자신을 포함한 아군이 생존하는 데 큰 도움이 됩니다.
Before we continue on with this video, right? So her S3 gives her team crit resistance, but you know, crit resistance doesn't exactly work. So this part of the video is a lie.
You don't say.
This part's a lie. They edited this part, okay? Smallgate edited this part, so this shit doesn't actually work, okay? But besides that, her S3, let's go back and read it. Yes? It says, help me cream. Freeze all enemies before attacking with cream, increasing critical hit resistance of all allies for 2 turns, and grant the caster immunity for 2 turns. She scales on HP with this skill, which is actually not too half bad. Anytime you see HP scaling, you kind of nut. Not like. I'll take that back. I'll help you. I cannot do this video because chat. This is not bad, okay? The skill basically says that it does damage and it offers some utility for your team. It's actually really good to actually pair up with any team whatsoever. Literally says that she's an ice bruiser. Once again, that offers utility like Alencia. Doing damage basically means that she can actually do some scary things. Maybe her S3 can actually do some damage, but I don't really know. We gotta continue with the rest of her kit in order to actually say otherwise. Anyways, we skip the rest of the part, we go over to her S2, right?
퓨리리그의 쿨타임이 초기화됩니다. 3스킬과 마찬가지로 자신의 최대 생명력에 비례해 피해량이 증가합니다.
Yo, this is a poor demonstration of the skill, because then she's hitting Rylet instead of the unit that she could have been hitting, which is called Elena. So we don't exactly see the damage that's actually done here, so we're gonna have to wait, right?
소울 10개로 피해량을 증가시킬 수도 있습니다.
But let's go back to this again. Her S2, Flush. Attacks the enemy by wildly swinging a spear, penetrates the enemy's defense by 30%. When the caster stacked focus is 5, consume all focus, penetrating the enemy's defense by an additional 20% and resetting the cooldown of Flush. Damage now increased proportional to caster's max health. Now, any skill that penetrates defense is pretty nuts, right? Now, this one also resets and actually have like a 1 soul increased damage dealt, which is pretty good. We could probably see this as very similar to how we see Emo Haste with his single target, right? But the thing that enables most bruisers is it's normally some sort of debuff that allows him to do damage, or something that allows, like, brings in reduction in defense, which is like this one, right? This is how HP bruisers do damage. Alencia has defense break. That's how she does damage. She has, what else is there? Emo Haze has ignore defense on his S3. That's how he does damage. This one ignores more defense. So guess what? Against bruiser meta, this is actually perfect. Against Knights, this is perfect. And not only that, this can also reset, which is pretty dank. This is a lot of damage. This is literally the very reason why I think that she's gonna be like a really scary unit. Just because then if we happen to see this have a very high multiplier, which it could be because it's a single target, she might be able to one-shot like any unit for free. And she's very fat. And she's not like Rylet. Okay? While Rylet has penetration and defense, that guy doesn't dodge. However, Choux can though. Okay, she doesn't dodge. What I mean is, she can tank. She can take a hit. Which is pretty good. I think, you know? Her S1 is basically just whatever. It basically says here, hey look, I S1 you, I give you combat readiness for 20%. And I scale more on HP. She literally just, her entire kit, S1 is damage, S2 is damage, S3 is more damage, but this time we give you some utility. Which is not bad. Now, to really go over and like, put this into summary, the reason why I introduced her in the beginning of the video saying that she's gonna be like the next meta unit is literally just because of this. Number one, she's an ice bruiser. We do not have a lot of ice bruisers that are currently available in this current meta. We can only count like maybe 2, Crow, SSB, but that's basically it, right? We don't have many other options. SSB gets countered a little bit too hard, so when we run into that big problem, we don't have like another ice unit to really deal with any other situations. But those are like the main bruiser units. We wouldn't end up using, yeah, chat, like chat would say, you wouldn't use Bruiser Luna, you wouldn't use any other bruiser ice unit. I don't really know what else is bruiser for ice. I would like to say, I don't know what else I'm actually missing, but if I could probably name a few, I would only know Crow and SSB. Really well known, very strong in terms of meta. They literally see them all the fucking time. You would not see any other unit. Introducing Choux into this meta is actually pretty nice because now we actually have more options, but the only thing that makes her very scary is literally for the fact that she's an HP bruiser. HP bruisers are whack. They're whack literally just because they're tanky, but they do damage. And because they're tanky and they could do damage, you would only be scared for your life. Like, I can't really say too much about it. Right? A unit that literally has combat readiness for S1, which probably doesn't really mean too much. We're probably going to be seeing her do like a little bit of damage here and there. And then you actually see her S2 penetrating defense. If it actually has a high multiplier, she also has like a 1 soul on her like S2. That basically means that there's a possibility that she could probably one-shot like some tanky unit right off, like straight off the bat, right? And her S3 doing crit resistance, so that's already annoying, right? But you know, most of the time whenever you try to use crit resistance, it probably wouldn't really matter. But guess what? Your entire team is really tanky and full of knights anyway, and you run the 4 deadly horsemen. So, a fat bruiser like this will probably be super annoying to play against, right? But this is like an option away from SSB, so this is a very good unit, yes? So, along with that said, that basically is those are like my initial thoughts on Choux. We should probably get onto like her artifact as of right now, and this is her like artifact.
슈의 아티팩트
Monk
스톤
W.
크리스탈입니다. 효과 저항이 20% 증가합니다. 또한 피격 시 치명타
TLDR, the artifact's trash. Like, I don't think you would ever justify this over the warrior artifacts that we have currently. You wouldn't justify this over Draco Plate. You wouldn't justify this over Durandal. Even Durandal. This is basically Durandal. Except Smallgate loves putting in the suffix of can only be activated once per turn. I don't understand why that is there. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if this is her own artifact, it doesn't make sense for Choux, because then her entire kit literally just says crit resistance plus immunity. So if you put her on immunity, why care about effect res, yeah? And then you have the rest of her kit, her S1 just doing damage, her S2 doing just damage, and then her S3 just doing more damage with giving her some buffs. This doesn't do anything, right? This thing is a conditional artifact, right? Durandal is also a conditional artifact, however, it doesn't have the restriction of activate once per turn. There's like a lot of artifacts that end up appearing like this. I don't exactly know why they look like this. We had like Doctor's Bag that had this freaking issue. We had like many other artifacts that had like these big restrictions. But this is the very reason why I think Snow Crystal is actually just bad. You don't need to pull for Snow Crystal, which is a good thing. That basically means you can stop, you don't get Snow Crystal, and you just try to get the unit, and that's it. That's it. You may as well just end up using Draco Plate or Durandal for her, because then I think those are like probably the best two that you can actually probably use for her. Otherwise, there might be cheeky ones like a Lensinox if you don't have enough crit chance. Let's say, for example, you're free to play, you don't have enough crit chance, you can't get the imprints, you use the Lensinox. Like me. Right? But that's like basically it. I mean, the verdict about like this entire unit all in all is she probably will be like a meta Ice Bruiser for sure. That will be in replacement of either Kuurai or SSB, especially if you need more damage in your team. If you end up like not having enough an ice unit and then the enemy ends up running very fire heavy, or let's say for example they're very neutral heavy, but you need like another unit that maybe could like tank it out and maybe bruise for like a little bit for you and actually have the ability to kill like a tanky unit, you're probably gonna go for Choux, but we probably wouldn't know until until we see her multipliers. Yes? And her artifact is basically trash. You wouldn't want it. It isn't very ideal. You're probably not going to see many units that would probably use this. I think there's probably enough warrior artifacts that wouldn't justify this already. And if you're going to use this, there's only a very niche amount of units that could probably use this. Chat says maybe Dark Corvus, but I would say otherwise. It's kind of like on and off. It doesn't really appear to be a very good artifact, and it's not like you are going to be having the ability to pull multiple of this anyway. So, with that said, I'm basically done with this video. We can actually cut this part completely. Thank you for watching. I hope you comment and subscribe. I don't say this a lot. So comment and subscribe. I suck at YouTube. And peace.